All right, so get this. You guys sent in some stuff about success and fulfillment and, through the Bible. Genesis 1 specifically, color me intrigued.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we're taking a deep dive into excerpts from a Myron Golden YouTube video. And this guy's got some thoughts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, about how these ancient texts, apply to us today. It's pretty wild.
Well, what strikes me right away is how Golden redefines success. It's not about all the usual, like, money or fame. It's about living in sync with your purpose.
Okay.
He calls it a divinely ordained purpose.
Well, a divinely ordained purpose. So does that mean we're all, destined for some specific thing? Or do we get to choose?
That's a great question, and Golden doesn't really, spell it out.
Right.
But he does call the Bible, the ultimate cheat code for success.
Okay.
He urges people to not just read it, but to really apply its principles. And he even tells this story about how he totally transformed his life by following this approach, even though it was, way outside his comfort zone at first.
So even if you're not super religious, there might be something to this idea of finding your own cheat codes.
Yeah.
Those guiding principles that help you live a more fulfilling life, right?
For sure.
But how do you actually do that?
Well, Golden breaks down Genesis 1 in a way that I found really fascinating.
Okay.
He talks about God creating these three distinct categories. So first you got the inanimate stuff.
Yeah.
Your rocks, water, all that.
Gotcha.
Then come the creatures, your animals, plants, and all that. And then there's us humans. Golden calls us creative creators.
Creative creator.
And get this, he says God specifically delegated this power to intentionally create to humans.
Okay, wait, so we're the only ones who can do that. What does that even mean for us?
Well, it puts a pretty big emphasis on our role in the world, right? We're not just passively existing, we're actively shaping things around us.
I'm starting to see why this Golden guy's so popular.
Yeah?
He takes these ancient ideas and he just makes them super relevant to our lives today. But then he throws in this whole numerology thing, right? He's obsessed with the number 9 as the symbol of truth. He even uses these time calculations, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. You add all those digits up and you get 9 to back up his claim.
Yeah, that's where things get a little mystical.
Okay.
Numerology is all about finding patterns and meaning in numbers. And while it's not exactly scientifically proven, it can be a way for people to connect with these big abstract concepts like truth or divine order.
It makes you wonder, though, is he trying to convince us? Or is he more focused on using these examples as a way to make people think differently about the world?
That's a good question, and one I think you have to keep in mind as we go deeper into his ideas.
Okay, so then he lays out these 3 keys to fulfillment. So creating something, connecting with others, and contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Right.
And he says if any of these are missing, you will feel empty, even if you're super successful in other areas of your life.
It's interesting because it does tie into a lot of psychological theories about well-being and self-actualization.
Okay.
But Golden adds this spiritual layer.
Okay.
Saying true fulfillment comes from aligning your actions with this purpose that goes beyond just you.
So it's not enough to just make a ton of money or achieve some goal. There has to be a deeper why behind it all.
Exactly. And I think that's a really important point for anyone trying to figure out, what they want to do with their life.
He goes on to use the creation of Eve, from Adam's rib to illustrate the importance of connection and companionship. And then he points to God's sacrifice as a model for restoring these broken connections, emphasizing the importance of, contributing to something larger than yourself.
Right.
But what does that actually look like in your life? What are some tangible takeaways for someone who wants more meaningful relationships and action?
That's where it gets really practical, because Golden is all about action. He's not just saying be a good person. He's giving you a framework for how to do that.
And then he goes after this idea of just hoarding wealth.
Right.
And he uses this powerful analogy of the Dead Sea. All that water flows in, but nothing flows out, and it becomes this stagnant, lifeless body of water.
It's a brilliant way to illustrate his point, that it's not about accumulating stuff, it's about flow.
Yeah.
He's advocating for cash flow over accumulation, using your resources to create positive change while you're still alive and kicking.
He actually puts his money where his mouth is, too. Golden says he prioritizes cash flow over just hoarding wealth. He doesn't want to wait till retirement to enjoy, the fruits of his labor, and he wants to make sure that his money is making a positive impact in the world.
I love that he's walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
It really makes you think about your own definition of success, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it just about piling up money, or is it something more?
It really does make you think, what does your definition of success look like? Does it involve creating something, connecting with others, contributing to something bigger than yourself? Or is it something else entirely? This deep dive might help you figure that out.
He's definitely pushing for like a more holistic view, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not like he's saying that, money is bad.
Right.
It's more like wealth should be a result of, living in line with your purpose, not the end goal. It's about using what you have, your time, your skills, your resources to like make a real difference.
Yeah, and he brings back that Dead Sea imagery
Right.
to really drive the point home,
Okay.
Imagine if all you did was hoard knowledge, never sharing it, never applying it. Wouldn't that be like a mental Dead Sea?
Yeah.
It's the flow that keeps things alive and vibrant.
Okay, that's a really cool way to look at it.
Yeah.
So Golden seems to be saying that, true fulfillment comes from this balance of creation, connection, and contribution. He even talks about, wanting to build a company that he can eventually like leave to his kids.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting rich for himself. It's about building something that will last.
That generational impact thing is huge for him.
Yeah.
It's like our actions today can ripple out and affect people for generations to come.
Kind of makes you realize that success isn't just about what you achieve in your lifetime, right?
Yeah.
It's also about the mark you leave on the world.
Absolutely. And Golden doesn't want us just sitting around waiting for opportunities to fall into our laps.
Right.
He's big on being proactive.
Yeah.
Go out and create those opportunities.
He's a big believer in, figuring out your purpose, then honing your skills, and then going all in on pursuing your goals.
Yeah.
It's like a call to action,
It is, but it's not a go it alone kind of message. Yeah. Golden emphasizes continuous learning, and not just from the Bible, but from all sorts of sources.
So it's about becoming like the best version of yourself,
Yeah.
both spiritually and practically.
Exactly. And he's honest about the fact that it's not always going to be easy.
Right.
There will be setbacks, challenges. But he says the key is to keep your eyes on the prize. That vision of a life filled with purpose and meaning, and even share some of his own personal stories. Times he struggled, times he triumphed.
That makes it so much more relatable, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because he's not just some guru up on a stage.
Right.
He's been in the trenches too. Something that really resonated with me was his whole thing about, having the guts to live your truth.
Yeah.
Even when it means like going against the grain or facing criticism.
Especially in a world where we're constantly bombarded with these messages about fitting in and following the crowd.
Right.
Golden is saying, nope, you let your actions flow from your convictions,
Yeah.
even if it means standing out.
And that includes setting boundaries.
Oh, for sure.
He talks about, not being afraid to say no to things that don't align with your values or your goals.
It's about protecting your time and energy.
Yeah.
Making sure you're laser focused on the things that truly matter to you.
Yeah.
Living intentionally, making conscious choices. That's where the real power lies.
But it's not about being like all stoic and going it alone.
Right.
Golden also talks about the importance of vulnerability, being willing to ask for help when you need it,
Yeah.
and surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yes.
Mentors, friends, a supportive community.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together and that we can achieve so much more when we support each other.
Yeah.
Think about it. Have you ever had a mentor who really pushed you to be better?
Totally. And even though Golden's coming from like a faith-based perspective,
Right.
a lot of what he's saying is pretty universal, right?
Absolutely.
The importance of purpose, connection, contribution.
Yeah.
Those are things that can resonate with anyone, regardless of their beliefs.
He's tapping into something fundamental about human nature.
Yeah.
That deep-seated desire to live a life of meaning and purpose.
Right.
And he doesn't shy away from challenging some of those conventional ideas about success.
Right.
Like retirement, for example.
Okay.
He says, why wait until you're old and gray to start making a difference? Use your energy now while you've got it.
He wants us to be thinking about our legacy.
Yeah.
Not in a morbid way, but in a way that inspires us to create a better future.
For sure.
And it doesn't have to be something huge.
Right.
Even small acts of kindness and generosity can have a ripple effect.
It's about making the most of each moment, each opportunity, living a life that's truly aligned with your values. And Golden, in his own way, is giving us the tools to do just that.
He's super passionate about it, and it's contagious.
Yeah.
It makes you want to go out and make something amazing happen.
Right.
But he also reminds us that it's not about being perfect, it's about progress.
Yeah.
Taking those small steps each day towards becoming the best version of yourself.
And that's a journey we can all embark on. Regardless of where we're starting from, what I find so refreshing about Golden is that he's not afraid to get real.
Okay.
To talk about his own struggles It makes him seem more human, more relatable, and it gives you hope that maybe, just maybe, you can achieve those big dreams too.
Totally, especially in a world that's so focused on, you know, instant gratification and material success.
Right.
It's good to hear someone reminding us that, true fulfillment comes from something deeper, something more lasting.
It's like he's offering a different perspective, a different path, and whether you agree with all of his ideas or not, I think there's a lot to be learned from his approach.
He's definitely given us a lot to chew on. And it's interesting how he weaves together biblical teachings with practical advice on business finances, personal growth.
It's almost like he's bridging the gap between ancient wisdom and modern-day challenges.
All right, I'm curious what stands out to you the most from all of this. What's that one golden nugget, no pun intended,
Right.
that you think our listeners should really take away from this deep dive?
It's hard to pick just one thing because Golden throws so many, thought-provoking ideas out there.
Right.
But what really sticks with me is this. He's not just talking about achieving some abstract idea of success.
Yeah.
He's talking about crafting a life that feels deeply fulfilling, a life that's in alignment with, your values and your purpose.
Yeah.
And he truly believes, that anyone can do it.
I think that's what makes him so compelling. He's not just preaching from on high. He's sharing tools and strategies that anyone can put into practice. Like he's saying, look, I'm a regular guy who figured out some of these principles and they transformed my life. You can do it too.
Exactly. And he's not afraid to admit that it's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
Right. There'll be bumps in the road. There'll be times when you question everything. But if you keep that focus on connecting and contributing, you'll find your way.
I'm curious, what about you? What would your cheat code be? If you could boil down everything we've discussed into one core principle that you think is essential for living a truly fulfilling life, what would it be?
That's a tough one. But I think for me, it all comes back to intentionality.
Okay.
Being mindful of your choices, your actions, your relationships.
Yeah.
Making sure they're all in service of that bigger vision you have for your life. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind and lose sight of what truly matters. But if you can stay focused on your why, on the impact you want to make, that's where the magic happens.
I love that intentionality. It's like a guiding star helping you navigate all the twists and turns of life.
Yeah.
And it applies to so many different areas. Your career, your relationships, your finances, even your spirituality.
Exactly. And it's not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about being aware, being present, and making choices that are aligned with your values and your goals.
It's been a wild ride, hasn't it? We went from Genesis to numerology to practical business advice, all in the span of a single deep dive. I have to say I'm impressed by Golden's ability to weave together these seemingly disparate ideas into a cohesive philosophy of life.
He's definitely a unique thinker, and whether you agree with all of his interpretations or not, you have to admire his passion and his commitment to helping people live more fulfilling lives.
So for you listening out there, what's your biggest takeaway from this deep dive? What's that one idea that sparked something inside of you that made you think differently about your own path to success and fulfillment? Hold on to that feeling, explore it, and see where it leads you. Maybe you'll uncover your own cheat code to a truly extraordinary life. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.